Alright, what's going on guys? So today we're diving back into the Elden Ring trailer, going over even more details that we missed. Now some of these have been covered on other channels, but not on this channel. I really like how many people have been going through this trailer trying to find everything and how many different channels have been posting videos about it, because everybody notices something different. Just like there's stuff that other people have found that we haven't found yet, there's plenty of stuff that we've found that nobody else has talked about yet. And I've got something pretty big for this video, so make sure to watch to the end because we're gonna go in depth about this theory that I have after we cover quite a bit of the smaller details. But as always, before we get started, I know only a small percentage of you that watch my videos are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you don't mind, hit that button for me and let's get started. So the first thing I want to get into today is something that I haven't heard anyone talk about, and that is the comparison between these giant stone statues and this creature from the official screen caps. So let's go over what makes them similar. If we look at the most identifying characteristics of this statue, we can see that it's very tall and very long with thin limbs. We can see that it has a stone tablet clutched in its hands, but notice below that, it has several tendrils extending outwards, which we can clearly see is a different pattern from the hair that's on the beard. And we can also see this on the statue on the left that's broken in half. Now let's take a look at the other creature. We can see that there's a ton of similarities right off the bat. For one, the bodies are the exact same dimensions, and the robe that they're wearing seems to be very similar as well. We can also see on the creature on the left what appears to be a beard of tendrils in a very similar fashion to the one on the right. Now clearly there's plenty of differences. The most notable one here is the head. While the statue on the right seems to be a perfectly normal human, we can clearly see that the creature on the left is some kind of distorted monstrous being. So why does this matter? Well, we know as a result of the shattering, many of the creatures and inhabitants of the land were distorted beyond recognition, and the perfect world of the lands between was corrupted. So my theory with this is that whatever the statues on the right were before the shattering was their perfect form, with their purpose of either guarding or being of reverence to the thing that they're holding in their hands. But after the shattering, they were distorted and lost their purpose, only wandering the world above ground. So I'm really interested to see the full-fledged story of this in the final game. But let's go ahead and move on. Now the next thing I want to talk about are some potential crafting items that we'll see in the world of Elden Ring. If we take a look at this clip here, we can notice these bright glowing orange things along the sides. And if we look closely, we can see that they're on plants. Now in the Miyazaki interviews, he said that these were going to be essential to creating healing items, which we're going to need since we're going to be in combat a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot longer between bonfires than in other games. Now I don't think this is going to be the same look as the items that we can find, but I think it's likely that the glowing orange things are those crafting items. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. Next I want to take a look at a very interesting observation. This was something I thought immediately when I first saw it, but one of you guys reminded me to take a look at this thing, and that is this dude right here. Look at him for a second and see if you see anything weird, because I sure do. He seems to have a face on his torso. Now this could just be interesting design, but with everything we've seen so far in the Elden Ring trailer, this could be indicative of something really big. So if we look really closely, we can see what appear to be closed eyes and the bridge of a nose. Now it's not 100% certain, I can't make it out for sure, but it's definitely not one-to-one of a normal torso. So why does this matter? Well, if it is a face on his chest, then this opens up the possibility that he could be one of the demigods, since we know that one of the effects of the shards is adding other body parts or being altered with another living creature, which leads us into the final detail of the day, and that is trying to figure out what's going on with the different seasons in the world. Now we know the game's gonna have a day, night, and weather cycle, but it could also have a seasonal cycle, and we have evidence for this. So in the first few shots of the trailer, we can see this pretty clearly. In the first one, we can see the grass is green, we can see all the plants have vegetation on them. And then in the next shot, you can see all the leaves are orange as well as the grass signifying autumn. Finally, towards the end, we have a slew of shots that are in the snow. Now, the question has to arise of whether or not this is going to be a seasonal cycle, or if this is going to change with in-game events like we see in Bloodborne and Sekiro. There's also a possibility that different areas could all have different seasonal themes, and there is some evidence for that as well. For example, those first shots in the trailer all took place at different areas. We see that open field be green, and in every other shot we see that open field, it's also green. Now, a lot of people have been speculating that the area we see the snow in is the same open field as every other shot, but I don't think that's the case. So let's take a look at it. In this shot where the character's fighting this hand, if we look at the branches of the Erd tree, we can see that they're much closer to the ground, signifying a much higher altitude, which would also explain the snow. So then, where is this at? Well, taking a look at the old leak trailer can help us identify this. We see this area in the snow, and we also see that prominent cup structure off in the background. Now, a lot of people thought this thing was absent from the main trailer, but it actually wasn't. If we take a look at this screen cap here, we can actually see that same cup structure off in the top right, and we can see bits of snow capping the rocks. So I think the strongest argument here is for different areas having different seasonal themes. Now, this does not mean that there can't also be world events that change the weather of the game. For example, the red sky that appears in the dragon fight definitely seems to be a weather changing world event. But either way, I'm really excited to see how this is going to work in Elden Ring. But anyways guys, that's going to pretty much do it for the video. I've still got a lot more details I want to go through, but I need to space them out so we don't completely run out of stuff to talk about. And I've got something really big coming later this week, so I hope you can get excited for that. But if you did enjoy this video guys, please leave a like on it and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you in the next one.